In this lecture, we're going to be learning how to paint a nose. Now, the first thing we want to do when we're painting a nose is we want to draw the outline for our painting. So there's two ways you can draw the outline for a nose. The first way is to basically just draw an oval for this bottom part of the nose right here. And then just kind of lines coming up like this, up into the brows. And then from there, I'll show you if we move that off. From there, we can go ahead and we can start adding in all the details. We can add in the nostril holes. The nostrils. And then from there, we could start painting it in. We could even erase out some of this that we don't really want or need. Like that. And that would give us the base drawing for our nose. Now, the way we're going to be doing it is we're going to do it with a little bit more form. We want to make sure that we're getting that form in there. So what we do is we draw this basic geometric form that looks like this, kind of like a trapezoid. So I'll just go ahead and draw this on top of the nose so you can see how it lines up with the nose exactly. So you basically get this shape right here. And I'm actually going to bring the thickness of my brush down a little bit, just because we're going to be painting underneath this and I want to be able to see through these lines a little bit better. So you basically get a straight line coming up like this, and then across the bridge of the nose, and then it comes back down, and as you can see, it's kind of tapering outward, so it's kind of a long, skinny trapezoid. And once you get down to here, get a straight line like that, and then you get an edge coming off like this, which then comes back up and connects like this. Same with on this side. Maybe we could actually angle those down a little bit more. Something like that. And the bottom is going to be a little bit curved like that. And then from here we can start breaking, this down into its own nose form. So for example, we'd get this brow piece up here. We get this piece curving around like that. And then right here we get this rounded shape on the nose, so we could go ahead and break that rounded piece off. Now I just drew on top of the image just to demonstrate to you how this shape applies to the actual nose. But just know that when you're actually drawing this, you can draw it without drawing on top of an image. You can just draw this form and then start adding in all the other aspects of it. We can start adding in our nostril holes. So I'm just going to slice off the corners and angle them like that. Then we get our nostril holes. Get the top of the nostril, something like that. And then we can take our eraser and we can just start erasing out parts that we don't really need in our drawing. I'll just erase this stuff out here lightly, because I still kind of want those as guides in my drawing. Then I'll go back in there, kind of touch some of this up a little bit more. Alright, great. So I think we have a good base drawing now. I'm going to go ahead, use my transform tool, and I'm going to enlarge that a little bit. I don't know, I have all this extra space around here, but that's fine. So I just want this painting to be a little bit larger than my reference photo, so that's why I'm enlarging it. Alright, great. So now let's go ahead, we can clean this up a little bit more and thin out these lines just so they don't show up so much in our painting once we start blocking in our colors. Alright, but now moving forward, it should be relatively straightforward. So relatively simple, that is. So let's go ahead and let's start adding in our base color. So I added a new layer underneath my drawing layer. And what I'm going to do is I just want to find a color in here. I'm going to color pick because when we're doing studies, it's okay to color pick. Sometimes you don't want to, sometimes you want to challenge yourself, but in this case, painting the human skin can be very difficult. So I'm just going to teach you how to color pick, and what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention over here in the color tray where your colors are coming from, so you start to get a good sense of what kind of colors are in the skin tones. Alright, so we want to find a darker color, kind of more of a shadowy color. So we could pick something from down here, we could pick over here. I'm going to pick this gray color. Let's maybe a little bit, I'm going to pick from over here, this gray color, and I'm going to make that my main shadow color. Then I'm going to go ahead and using my brush, and maybe I'll switch over to, or actually, no, let's use that brush. I'm going to go ahead and just start filling this in, just like so. Alright, great. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take the next darkest color, so maybe something like, let's go with something like this over here. I'm going to use that to start filling some stuff in. So I'm going to fill in over here. Anywhere in my reference where I kind of see more lightness in the skin tone. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this orangish reddish purple color down here, and I'm going to fill in the bottom of the nose just like that. Maybe grab some of this darker stuff and fill it in over here. Do the same thing up here on the brow. Take some of this lighter orangish red stuff, put it on there as well. I'm going to do the same thing up here, so take some of this darker color just like that. Alright, great. So now we have the colors roughly blocked in. We could actually, let's actually go ahead and let's take this lighter skin tone out here, and let's just paint some of this in as well. Just like that. Alright, so now we have a good base for our painting. Let's go ahead and take these two layers and let's merge them together as usual. And then let's go ahead and let's really start painting some stuff in, and then we'll go ahead and smudge those together so we can kind of soften the blending in the edges and stuff like that. So what we want to do is we basically just want to start color picking from areas over here. So for example, right here, I'm going to color pick that, bring my brush size down, and I'm going to go ahead and start painting on top of this painting like that. And I'll continue to just do that. So I'll color pick that more of an orange color right there, and I'll paint it right there. Try not to color pick too much. We want to use just a few colors. We don't want to use every tiny little color we can find in this image. We just want to color pick every now and then on the image and paint with that. So let's get inside this nostril hole. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this blue, this bluish gray, I can start painting over like this and kind of start blending that outwards around the nose like I see in my photograph. And then I'll go ahead and color pick the color in between and start blending that out a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and blend this purple color in. And I'll select the color in between, start blending that in. I'm going to grab some of this color up here, put some color coming across the top of the brows like that. Now we can go ahead and take this skin tone, we can start blending it into this orange a little bit more and just start to soften that up, as well as cover our drawing lines a little bit more. Then we can start blending in on this side of the nose. So it's important to grab colors from both sides to help blend in and also to control where the edge of your line is. Now, you'll notice that the nose is a lot darker down here at the tip of it, and that's just because there's a lot more blood down there, but that's good. We want it to be a slight bit darker, so when we add these little highlights and reflections on the tip of the nose, they stand out more. Alright, now that we have it to this point, I think this would be a good time to go ahead and kind of start smudging some of this together. So I'm going to switch over to my smudge tool. I'm going to use something with some texture. I have my strength set to 43%. And I'm just going to start smudging some of this paint around a little bit just to blend it in a little bit more and soften it up. You'll notice that I'm moving in the direction that my paint is going. So wherever I'm smudging the paint, I'm moving in the direction that my paint strokes are going. So that way it smudges nice and evenly, I guess you could say. This is just going to help it smooth together and create more of a painterly look. Alright, great. That's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and switch over to our brush tool, and then we're just going to start cleaning some of this up. So it's all smudged together, but we want to make sure that we kind of clean some of these areas up. So for example, looking at my reference, I notice that there's a really dark area down here, so I'm going to select that color. I'm just going to paint in, and maybe I could darken that a little bit more, just to exaggerate it. I'm going to paint some of that in right there. And just get some core shadow in there. And that kind of continues up onto this side of the nose, so I'm going to go ahead and select some of that color. Maybe darken that a bit too. Just paint some of that in. Just like that. And then I'll take some of that mixed color and I'll start blending that in. So some of this detail in here, I just want to sharpen it back up. When I blended it all together, we kind of lost a lot of it, but we don't want to lose all of it. So I want to make sure that we take our time, come back in here, and add some of this detail back in. Alright, great. I think that's looking pretty good. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add these highlights that I see on the nose. So I want to do that by, let's just go ahead and select that color. Let's look for a lighter one, something like that. And then let's just go ahead and let's just start lightly layering that in and see how that looks. So that guy looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add one right here. One down here. One here. We could actually go ahead, let's select this color. Select that color. Just make sure that we're getting the right colors in there. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to exaggerate these a little bit. I'm going to soften this guy up just a tiny bit by painting over him. Maybe I'll do the same thing with this guy out here. Kind of spread him out a little bit more as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these colors. So I'm going to select this color, for example. It's almost completely white. I'm going to paint in a much harder shape in there. Just like that, nice and small. I'm gonna do the same thing out here. And do the same thing right here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my brush size up. I'm gonna add a few little spots of this lighter white color out here. Look at that. Let's go ahead and zoom out and see how that looks. Perfect. I think that looks pretty good. I think the only thing is that it could be a little bit darker on this front part of the nose. So I'm going to go ahead, color pick from there. Maybe grab some of this darker color right here. Maybe saturate it a little bit more red. I think that could kind of be like painted around that highlight right there, just so it stands out a little bit more. All right, perfect. I think adding that little bit of a darker color in there really kind of helps it along, just so that we get a little bit more contrast between this highlight and the actual tip of the nose. All right, great. So that brings us to the end of this lecture. So once you paint this nose, I want you to go ahead and post it to the Q&A section of the course so we can all see the progress you're making and give you some good motivation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.